Hello, everyone who joined us at 5:30 today, and welcome to this webinar titled Learning by Doing with Cisco Networking Academy, co-organized by STEM Alliance and Scientix. My name is Anastasia Boyko. I'm Project Manager of STEM Alliance, and I will be moderating this session. Along with me, we have my colleague Bjorn under the Scientix account, under the host account, so he will be helping you with any technical issues. And we also have in the room our speaker, Peter Bessems, who will be presenting at this occasion. So a short introduction about this webinar, and then I will pass on the word to Peter. So this webinar is an opportunity to learn more about STEM careers and STEM resources, key skills needed for careers of the future, and teaching materials to support you in advancing your learning from the webinar. Our speaker, Peter Bessems, he is certified Cybersecurity Specialist at the ICT College in Helmond. He will explain his experience working as an educational expert in the IT sector and ideas based on currently running Cisco courses about networking and cybersecurity. So this webinar is very special because it is dedicated to the currently ongoing STEM Discovery Week. Here you see the link to this campaign running between 22nd and 28th of April this year, but it also runs every year, and you can contribute to this by organizing STEM activity in the April of months or even earlier and submitting different competitions that we are running under different projects. For example, STEM Alliance is running this year a competition, and you can apply to this still to contribute to this week, this special week. So. And moreover, Cisco Networking Academy is a recognized supporter of this year's campaign. This makes the webinar even more interesting. And I'm going to share now with you in the chat a direct link to the campaign's webpage, so you can check if there is any interesting activities for you. Moving on to our today's speaker. So as I mentioned, Peter Bessems is an experienced IT teacher and certified cybersecurity specialist. He connects with us from Helmond, from the Netherlands. He teaches at a public technical college with students of the ages between 16 and 22, and his vision that he shared with us is that students learn better by doing and working with real equipment. So we will now start this session with the presentation of Peter, and at the end of the session we will have 15 minutes for you to address questions to our experts through the chat. You can post your questions during the whole webinar. We will collect them and address to Peter in the end. And that's all from my side. I will leave the floor to Peter, so enjoy.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me. It's a very special occasion for me to present to much people. Yes. Now, this is a nice slide. I didn't make it. I go next to the next slide. This is the agenda for me. Who am I? I'm starting with it. And then I tell you a little bit about my school. It's ICT College Helmond in the Netherlands. Then I show you some pictures of my learning environment. And then, of course, I will explain something about Cisco Networking Academy curriculum. And our teaching method. Our teaching method is talk, picture it, and let's act. Then I have some slides of the traditional classroom and the flipped classroom. Then I'll show you something about WebEx Teams as tool for education. I will explain it. And I will be proud of the achievements of my former students. So that will be the last slide. Okay, let's start. Who am I? First thing, this is not good. Okay, I'm Peter Bessems. Birth year was 1957, and I'm living in a small village in the south of the Netherlands. I started teaching youngsters in the age of 12 and 16, and I'm starting with cooking lessons, and then I after a few years of having a nice time with cooking lessons, I became a sailing and cardio fitness instructor. You see it here. And at the age of students of 16 and 22. Then 20 years ago, I started as IT teacher, and now I'm a certified cybersecurity specialist, and I'm using the curriculum of Cisco Networking Academy. Here's a picture of me with a mobile kit of routers and switches. I will explain you more later on. Then in the IT, you have continuously upgrade your knowledge. So I have to study a lot, but it's enjoyable for me because I'm always learning something new. And now I'm participating at the Cyber Ops. Cyber Ops is a cyber operations course. Every week we have a similar webinar as now, and a teacher in the middle of the Netherlands is teaching me, explaining me something about cyber ops. When I'm not studying, I have some hobby, making music in a band. I play different instruments, guitar and piano. And I'm a field hockey training for several teams of the local hockey team. And the rest of my time, I have spare time, I spend with my lovely family. Here's some picture. I have three lovely daughters and a lovely wife. So that's the introduction of me. The school. Where is the school situated? Okay, this is the global Earth, Europe. Then in Europe, we have a place, and you can see here in the south of it, there is ROC Terra. And this is, wait a minute, this is the location. We have approximately 4,000 students, and the average age is 17, 22 years. Students graduate at our school as a professional. There are different colleges. There's a technology college and healthcare college, also a construction college, and IT of ICT and business college. The normal school is 3 years, and then they are graduated. Okay. Learning by doing. That's the team. And it was many years ago, there was Confucius, and he had some quotes. And this is one quote of him. I see and I forget. I hear and I remember. I do and I understand. That's the main motto. By doing, the students are more understanding what they are doing. They're not reading and they're not simulating. They're working with the real equipment. Here are some pictures. Now here you can see, I pointed out, now they are assembling a computer and disassembling them. And they do it in a group of 2 persons. This is our environment. You see, this is a mobile rack with switches, routers, and servers. And you see also here there is a truss where the connections is, the electricity, but also the internet connection. And you see this is an open room, an open classroom, so we can switch the racks, or we can install the room otherwise. Okay, this is a switch and the router, and you see everything is nice and neatly patched, and the students have a name of it, and they call it Cable Wednesday. And what's Cable Wednesday means? On Wednesday they go to the room where are all the routers and switches and servers are, and they will bind it with nice and easy, and so that it looks good and it is also ornate. Here you see that's a nice thing. This is also a car with a screen, and you see here a student making something, and here it's Dutch, unfortunately, and it's called Chicken from Chuck. It's an action, and this is a website the student has programmed. So that's the thing. Okay. Next thing you can see, this is some students. They are making a whiteboard. What are they are doing? They are doing have a project, and you have to put all the IP addresses they have for the routers and the switches. And some are trying to do it by head, but it's so different, it's so difficult, and they use the whiteboard. That's this is a picture of a job in the cloud. Our school is being visited by a lot of companies because IT students are very wanted these days, especially cybersecurity students. And this is a man who's telling about great companies, SML or Claranet, and they want to have the students to go to there. Later on, I will open the open class. Here you see this is the same thing, rack, and someone is programming. This is the real equipment. Now you ask, how rich is this school? No, this is equipment that we get from companies that don't use that equipment anymore. And they call one of my colleagues or me, and then I'll go with my car and collect all the equipment. Here you see these are the laptops. These are also refurbished laptops. It's not new. And these are some racks. This is a more closed classroom because there is a lot of equipment and it's making a lot of noise. And when you are in an open classroom, so such as an office garden, then you don't want the equipment making a lot of noise, so others get disturbed by it. Voice over IP. This is a telephone. It's a very old one. It's called telephone by internet, and they're programming our logo into the phone. That's some students did for me. This is small computers. These are 6 small Raspberry Pis, and this is the Internet of Things. And what is the Internet of Things? When you want to know what is the temperature of my room, if I want to know how many cars are driving on a highway, or I want to know if the equipment of the street lighting is on or is broken. These are 6 Raspberry Pis, and they are connected to each other, and these are the students, they have to work with it. At Christmas time, we have a lot of fun. We make a LAN party. What's a LAN party? We connect all our PCs together and we play some games. Also, you see here, this is my colleague, he's doing some karaoke, and this is a student with playing on a PlayStation. And this is very fun for the students and also for the teachers. And now they are playing here. You can see, maybe you can't see it very well, but that's a Mario Party. Next slide. You see there is the boy is wearing some security glasses because they are cleaving fiber. In the Netherlands, it is the internet is full of glass fiber, not copper, but old glass fiber. And we teach the students, and now you can see it. This student is cleaving the glass fiber, and you have to be very careful because fiber you can't see it; it's very small. You also see here there is some dark underground because when they make the glass fiber fall, you can still find it, and it's very very dangerous if fiber becomes into your skin. because you can't see it and it will damage a lot of things. You can see here a small thing. These are two switches and two routers, and this is the closed room where I earlier talked about. Okay, this is my learning environment. Now, next we go. This is an example of the Cisco curriculum. And you see, I say there is no books and everything is digital. At our school, IT College, we don't have any books. Everything is digital. This has some reasons, because wait a minute. Yes, there's some reason, because when in the IT, everything changes very quickly, and that's why we do have only everything digital. You see, this is the course of CCNA Security. You see the chapters, and I will show you the next slide. This is Cybersecurity Essentials, and in Cybersecurity Essentials, you get a link from me at the end of this presentation, and you have access to this course material, so you can look. Maybe it's interesting for you or for your college. See, here are the chapters. These are the bookmarks where you have been, and the course index and search button, and you can return to the class. This is the inside. This is the text, and it's explaining a man-in-the-middle attack. Don't go to specify the problem. And you can see here there's also a picture, and the picture is interactive. When you click on the plus button, it pops up a pop-up, and you can explain what is happening, in what steps is the man-of-the-middle attack. Then go further. Course index, we have a packet tracer index, lab index, and a video index. This is very important for the student. Packet tracer is a program that simulates network connectivity or Internet of Things connectivity. Lab index is a written task they can do. And video index, there are some videos, and you can look at search for it. Okay, next slide. This is the thing I most like. When they are finished a chapter, they have to learn some terms and concepts, and this is a nice practice. You can see here at the bottom, they can choose different study methods. There is a study method of match, learn, flashcards, spell. This is an example of flashcard. This is the description, and we are looking for a term. And when the students are not able to read English, you can click on this button, and it will sound, and it will read out louder. This is this is a Quizlet. The other thing is matching. You have to match, drag and drop by what is the right spyware, what is the right description. Other thing is spell. You have to type what you hear. The computer is spelling a word, and you have to type it. And you get, when you do this is exploit, and it will sound like exploit. And if you do it well, you get a compliment, correctly, nicely done, and it has some things. So my students are using this for repeating before taking the assignments. You see here as the assignments. Also, you can see here is the grades. Every grades will be immediately shown to the student. After a course completion, the students are getting a certificate. This is a certificate of connecting networks, and it's about 8 modules, and they have made a final exam and a final practice exam. in packet tracer. Er is ook een certificate attendance voor de teacher. To gain my knowledge and keep my knowledge on a certain level, Cisco is making a global IPT week, similar as your week now. This one was in February, March 2018. And I spent 6 hours of education. And then you get, afterwards of the week, a certificate of attendance. Cisco Networking Academy. I'm now 20 years as an instructor. 20 years ago I started. And if you think this content could be useful for your friends, feel free, pass them. There is a link in my PowerPoint here, you can see it, and this page is open till 13th of July, 31 of July. This picture is an activity. You have to drag and drop the right thing, and it's correcting immediately if you do the right thing or nothing. Okay, thank you, Anastasia. You made it very easy for me. Now comes the difference. How to teach. Mostly of you teach a lot. This is the textbook, as you've shown before. These are the PowerPoints you get. In the beginning, a lot of colleagues of mine are only reading out loud the points of the PowerPoint in the class. What's the difference? If this is reading the student at home and you're telling something about it, maybe something more, that's not enough. So if the information is presented in class, why should the student read the textbook? That's my question. Are the students really getting the what I need them to learn? If I'm telling a PowerPoint, then I think they don't get always the thing. I will show this in an animation. If the topic complexity is, you see, very simple to more complex formulas, and we hope that they get that thing. But at the same time, the student attention span, and we also know our experience that it's not, they start fresh and then later on, okay, oh, now it's going. There's something again. I wish this was at the time when I can be more attentive or something. I got lost halfway through the class. I wish I could have pressed rewind. Can I look back what he explained to me? And my brain is full. This happens sometimes in class. And we have IT students, and some IT students have autism. So their brain are literally full. Okay. This is traditional classroom. You see, we start introduction to new content. If you really want to learn something, then teach it, I say. But did they fully get it? When I'm explaining something new, the limited knowledge is present with the students. Then they start at home, and at home they reinforce the content. At home, on their own, using their limited knowledge they gained in class, they completed their homework with limited or delayed feedback because I'm not present there. To reinforce the knowledge they get. And then at the class, assessment, exams, the student is memorizing, cramming. But my question is, did he really understand the content? Now, in Holland, at my school, we experienced with flipped the classroom. What is flipped? Now you can see previous. Here it starts with the classroom, and here it starts at home. At home, the students are getting their knowledge. The student be introduced to new content when they are attentive, when they are ready for it. They can repeat it when it's necessary, and they go to in their own pace. If they are tired or something, then they delay it. Then when they enter the room, we reinforce the knowledge. I'm not repeating what they did at home. No, I'm helping them and I'm going to a deep dive. I have more time for discussions, labs, practical labs, and chapter exams. Then, when the assessment is not that they memorize something, the goal is that students have the real understanding of the concept. I test it in practical exams. And if they didn't practice a lot, they fail for the exam and they have to retake it. So this is the concept flipped the classroom. Now, ROC-TERA, that's my college, ICT College is a part of it. We have the motto, talk, picture it, and let the students act. We start with, each lesson starts with a lecture of max 30 minutes. And sometimes it's a repeating they had doing at home. And then I picture it. I demonstrate what students have to do step by step. I'm making a recording of it. You see here it's a simulation. I highlight the things, the commands, and the students can show back the video. Then the students get a similar problem as shown here, and they solve it with the real equipment. You see here are 3 students and they're having this problem and they have to show it. Okay. Okay, as earlier mentioned, I record my lessons. So this is my colleague Niels Janssen. We do the same thing. I record my picture it so the students can repeat, review, step-by-step demonstration in his or her own pace. During the lab activity, I can concentrate my coaching role and get to deep dive the knowledge for something. Going back to the next slide. Okay, when it's new content, we have, my colleague has video content instruction on YouTube. And the students have to as their homework prior to lessons. It's in Dutch. A video instruction about this is about managing a VLAN on a switch, and another video instruction. So they can prepare them the students with this thing. Tips when you record sessions. First thing, students need to watch the video at home. If they don't watch the video at home and they come at school, they will be lost. And they say, okay, you don't understand it because it sounds like Chinese for you because you didn't watch the video. Don't use the class time to repeat what was in the video. That's a waste of time. But use the time to reinforce what they watched. Many things can be explained better in a video. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, how much is a video worth? And I'm not saying that you have to tape everything and you have to have a lot of things on a video, but it's helping. Don't just regurgitate the text. It's the death of PowerPoint. Teach, explain, make it sense. Come with examples of the real life. Keep it active. Draw, animate, point. What I'm now doing. There must be something to attract the learner. If you have a video, do a run-through first, so it sounds more natural. I did a run-through about this thing, but I don't have it almost the time to do with every video I'm making. Occasionally show the presenter and remind the listener that there is a trusted person presenting it. Include animation and drawings, make it interactive. Change up different techniques for what works best. Add interviews of real-world network engineering of experts. And don't just record the book of or the online curriculum. It is not just a book. Okay. WebEx Teams. What is WebEx Teams? WebEx Teams is a chat function, and we have here groups. You see here there's a group of my instruction. This is a class. I blurred something about for privacy, and these are the assignments the students get on WebEx Teams. WebEx Teams is also possible that you record your lesson. You see on the mobile, this is a mobile screenshot. You see my colleague Niels Janssen is now explaining something about switching, and the student is now on his mobile phone because he's too late for a lesson because there was a delay with the train or the bus, and he still can follow the lessons and learn something with his own phone. He also can interact and he can describe something. This is his microphone, and you can change with the video. We use this tool pretty much. Okay, in the WebEx Teams they get a laptop task card, so they have to read what are the instructions. Unfortunately, it's in Dutch, and this is the scheme they have to make. 3 routers, 3 switches, and all. And this is the name of the course, Expert IT System and Devices. Doesn't sound much Dutch, but that's now the thing they are going to. In Holland, there is a consternation in the media. They say, okay, students of a low level, level 2, are not reading anymore. They do everything by video, everything by YouTube. If they want to have a new phone or a new computer, they look up at YouTube and they show a picture of the manual and everything is done. But I believe they still have to read, because this is a task card. They have to read it, and they have to make notes. They have to have a conversation with a customer, and they have to take down the notes and write a real email. So the reading is not lost with videos. Okay, we also use WebEx Teams for personal student meetings. This is a student of mine, and he prepared the conversation with me. Otherwise, it was a very short conversation. Here he is saying his grades and his progress and his problems, and here also are the goals for the next period he had to do. He said, okay, I want to have more Cisco hours, and I want to get my certificate of Microsoft. And we don't do everything with Cisco. We do everything with Microsoft, with VMware, a lot of companies. Normally, we invited the student to our school. We had a small talk of 50 minutes, and then he disappeared again. Now he stays at home, making connection with me, and we are training them to have a good conversation and a good video. Okay, this is one thing I always say: show, don't tell. This is what technical people always do. If they want to tell you something, they will write something down, and they will thing, they will making a note of it. Is WebEx similar as Microsoft Teams? Yes. You have Microsoft Teams, you have WebEx Teams. It's similar. And my colleague is now investigating what is the best. Mostly Microsoft is the cheapest, and Cisco is very expensive. But this, I don't know what is better. For us, WebEx is free. I think it is also for you free when you go have one-to-one conversation. When you want to record and make lessons with it, then you have to pay for the teacher, and the teacher is paying for 1 year 180 euros. So that's not much, and you have an account and you can talk to 30, I think 32 people as maximum. Okay, now next, the results, where I'm very proud of, is first thing, we have one of the highest completion rates. In the early days, a lot of students were not motivated. They say, "Oh, it's too difficult for me. It's in English, and my English is okay for Netflix series to see, but not okay when it's technical." And now we have one of the highest completion rates of the course. The scores are much higher than average, so that's a good point also. The student satisfaction, very high. They say, okay, Mister, I learn much more now because I have more time, and I'm more enjoying it because we were working with real equipment. Okay, for me, one of the most enjoyable classes I have taught in the past years. Instead of repeating information from a PowerPoint with comparatively few off-script instruction, now I'm able to engage with students on a deeper level, and they are much more clever in some areas of the learning environment. So this is I'm very pleased of. And last but not least, more fun for both students and me. Where am I proud of? Okay, these are two of my former students. This is Luc and this is Rand. And they were in Holland. We have national skills competition, and these are the IT administrators. And he won in 2017 and he won in 2018. When you are national champ, you are compete with Euro skills, and you see students from different countries at the same place, and you get a really complex assignment for 2-3 days, and you have to make a network. And this guy, he went to Abu Dhabi for the world skills. So it's not only Europe, but it's also the world. And it's a very learnful thing. And it's not my effort, it's their effort, but I only create the environment where they are working with real equipment and have real problems. Then alumni students of my ICT College and their job titles. This is a CS Threat Incident Analyst at SML. This is Cybersecurity Incident Response Team. We have someone who is Security Architect at Sophos. Sophos is an antivirus program. And we have a Digital Transformation Architect. And we're a Vice President of IBM Europe. And now I have some pictures of them when they started as student and when they are now. There are some different, some less hair here and some sophisticated. Okay. about this guy, he was a refugee from Africa and came when he was 14 at the Netherlands. And he studied with me, and he said, "Okay, I want my internship. My internships want to be in Africa. I want to go back to Africa and do things." Okay, we will arrange that. And I arranged an internship in Kenya at the girls' school in Kitui, and he was teaching those girls, and he also made a computer room fully equipped and work with the server, and that was a thing where I am proud of. This guy, he asked me, "Sir, I want to go to an internship as far as possible from the Netherlands." Okay, I will search for you, and I found a place in New Zealand, and he arrived there at New Zealand at Auckland and Wellington, and he get a real office, and he also get an office assistant, and he was only 19 years. Then he studied, graduated at our school, and now he did the university, and now he is vice president digital sales at IBM. Okay. Questions? No, there were
Yes, thank you,
popped a lot.
Peter. Yeah, it was a very nice presentation of yours, and actually I really loved the examples of real students, real life examples of those who went after graduation from your school to real jobs in industry
Yep.
to see that it's actually a very nice methods that you're using while teaching. So we have more of a discussion here happening in the chat, and
Okay.
I think we need a couple of advices from your side, because teachers started to discuss different methods of teaching, especially the flipped classroom approach, and they say they have troubles with several aspects of this. So one of these aspects is how to be sure, how to secure that all students or majority of students went through the material that was aimed to prepare them for the next class.
Yeah. At first time, there are always some students that didn't prepare well for the class, but they feel a little bit lonely. They don't get any progress, and after a few weeks, we did it, and they prepared well, and because they want to work with the real equipment. So not always everything is students are prepared, but mostly they were encouraged to do that, to prepare well. There are always students that are not prepared, and they will watch the video in another room to prepare, and then they will missing the deep dive.
So if I understand correctly, because I'm not a teacher, but I would like to understand the method, how it works. So if those students arrived at the classroom and they don't have preparation as such, they have to go to a separate room to see the videos on the spot, or?
No, they put on their ears and they have their own laptop.
Yeah.
And they watch the video they had to be watching.
Yes. Yeah.
Preparation.
Yeah. And I see a comment from one teacher that it's only motivation of themselves to do this that can support this method to be successful.
Yes. It has to be an intrinsic motivation, because otherwise, when we say you have to do that, then it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Another concern of one teacher that in her case, it's mostly because of the parents, considering it's not a teaching as such. Do you have any recommendation on how to approach this? So the teacher says that parents don't accept this method because there is a lot of effort happening at home, and then instead the students have to be in the classroom learning, and at home it's less learning, I guess, expected.
Yeah, but when we were making some things, then it is when we're making curriculum and we say, okay, you have to do your homework. Students are not used to work at home uh, when they are coming at our school, when they are 13, 14 years old. We say, okay, if you don't work at home, you don't have well prepared. And that is a method they have to use to. And to the parents, we say, okay, there are so much contact hours at school, and this is the preparation. Uh, when I have to learn something for IT, I also need to prepare it at home. I can't do things only at school. And yeah, that's the method.
Yeah. It's a lot of preparation from both sides, I guess, and also a lot of effort to reach the understanding of the content, as I see from the
Yeah.
discussion from the teacher. And one teacher says that they actually changed roles with students. So at some point, students become teachers and presented, I guess, the material. Have you tried this? What's your
Yeah.
experience?
Yeah, that's also we do. We say, okay, you prepare this thing because sometimes the student knows more about the subject than the teacher, and then we say, okay, you presentate because presentation is one thing of the skills our students need to know and to do, and they presentate the lesson. And sometimes they have workarounds I didn't imagine. And then I say, okay, explain to the class how did you do it? And yeah, then they are more eager to learn, and they say, oh, this is one of us, and I can be also so smart. This, that's a good thing to change the role. And sometimes I'm not the teacher; I'm the customer, and that's also a role playing that we do. And I say, okay, sometimes I'm an angry customer, sometimes I'm a customer that doesn't know, and they have to learn with it. So it's also nice.
Yeah, so we will wait for a couple of minutes while teachers are typing their questions. Meanwhile, I would like to
Yeah.
ask you, so I've seen only boys on the pictures. I noticed that there are less girls present in your presentation. So do you have any girls entering your school or studying there?
Yeah, we have a lot of girls at our school, but they're doing healthcare, but not ICT. We tried to get more girls to go to ICT or IT, but they are not like to it. It's a nerdy job, and no. Uh, for the 20 years, we very the companies are trying to get more girls in the IT. And it's the same at our school. We have only boys and a few girls, and mostly the girls.
Especially for this class, yeah.
Yeah, for networking and IT administrator. But sometimes there is a girl, and they are very successful. I can tell you.
Yeah. And another questions, if I may. Yeah, do the girls like your lessons? I hope. Yeah, sure. I'm sure they do. And then, yeah, the teachers are saying that they love to get students involved in teaching, commenting on the previous question. So there is a
Yeah.
actually there is a good intention there from teacher side. And a question that I have for you is like my personal question that I would like to address. So you started as a teacher some 10 years ago, or how was it for you to switch to new methods of teaching, to flipped classroom, to other things that are innovative at some point? They become innovative, yeah. From the
Yeah.
traditional classroom to these methods, what was your experience? How you started? How you felt?
I felt a little bit insecure because it's a new way of teaching. But when I saw the enthusiasm of the students and the results, they get more deep dive, and I became very enthusiastic. And you see, in my teaching career, I make a lot of switches, and not one year is the same because the content is changing constantly, and I have to be. That's for me a challenge. And this method, I see. Okay, I've got now more time. Uh, Previously, I got say 2 hours to explain something and to do the practice, and now I have only 30 minutes to explain something, and then I've got 1.5 hours for practice, and the results are very, very, very encouraging for me. I hope this is explaining your question.
Yeah, sure. Uh, Let me see if there are any other questions from
Oh yeah.
participant side. So
I
it
see.
takes
How
some
much
time
time
to
do?
yeah. We have 9 more minutes, so
Yeah, I see.
everyone is welcome to post. And I think that you triggered a bit of conversation here. I think those teachers are sharing experiences now about the flipped classroom and everything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I see. There's a question. How much time do I spend preparing a lesson? The
yes,
fluctuate.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Now, when I showed you something about picture it, the picture it, I do real life. So I'm picturing it, I'm telling you step-by-step instruction, and I record it. And the students, then I stop the recording, and the students can rewind, play back. So, I missed that, or I didn't understand what the teacher was saying. The other things, the YouTube videos, that takes a lot of effort. You get to be acquainted about the recording material, and yeah, that takes a lot of time, but it's worth it, and you can reuse the recordings. So, and sometimes the recordings are not well in YouTube, and you have to do it again, but it's very good. Okay.
So they are asking about the courses of programming languages
Yeah.
on
Yeah, there is
ICT.
also
Yeah.
there's also for programming, not for ICT channel MBO, but another, and it's called the programming language is Python, and that's more for the other students. There are application developers are there. And we also use Linda. You call it. It's for, in the Netherlands. This is called Linda. We also use this one. There's a lot of videos and explaining all the thing about programming, but also about the hardware and also about networking.
Yeah. And then you mentioned that you have a couple of students or several students with special needs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Autism, because we are in an environment of Eindhoven. There is we have students with special needs, and at our college we have open classroom, and there is no doors in it. And it's for some children of students with autism is it very uncomfortable. But we train them to taking headphones on, and we have also a supervisor, a girl who is talking to the students, and they have each week they have 1 or 2 conversations. What's the problem? Sometimes they have problem with planning. Sometimes they have problem with the distractions. And we have them. They are not at an office, but they are at the room, the open room where they are talking to each.
Yeah. And they are blended with the other students, or they are separated?
Yeah, they're blended. They're blended
Right.
because but they have the special plan. They have a special plan for their special needs.
Yeah. Very good. And then I noticed from one of your slides that you had a actual conversation online with a student of yours, I guess, right? And then for me, I realized that it's a lot of project management actually to be able to set the goals, to track time that you spent on achieving these goals and so on. So, and how frequent do you have these calls with students online?
Okay, we have 4 periods in a year, and each period they get the results, and we talk to the parents also. But the first thing we have to talk to the students about their progress and about their problems, and we have that 4 times in a year.
All right, so it's like milestones, checking milestones. It sounds like project management, absolutely. So not only hard skills, knowing IT, but also soft skills like time management.
Yeah, it's very important. And in IT, we have only 4 of those conversations. When you do in healthcare, you have more of this conversation because you have to be yourself. You are the tool. In IT, we have some equipment, and in healthcare, you are the tool. You have to help the people. You have to pose the right questions to your patients.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't see any more questions. I see only thank you and appreciation of your time and all the resources that you shared from different countries here. People are typing. So I think we have a couple of minutes to wrap up this session. So to our participants, we will send you a follow-up email with first of all with a link to the web page where you can find slides of Peter to re-explore the material that was shared during this session. In the follow-up email, we will include a short survey, a very short survey, not more than 5 minutes of your time, to evaluate our webinar so we can do better next time. If you want to receive a certificate of participation in this webinar, please fill in our feedback survey, and in the end you can indicate your name, surname, and the name under which you logged in for the session today, and we will issue a certificate for you. And please note that only participants who attended the webinar and filled out the survey, they will be receiving the certificate. And now, no questions, I think, at this point already. So we have to wrap up the session. So many thanks for your time, Peter, first of all, and many thanks to all participants who took part in the webinar and for sharing your ideas and resources with the rest of participants. Special thanks to the lively discussion. And actually, just to mention 2 good news that I would like to share with the participants who are still present in the room. The first one is that the next webinar will take place very soon. It's on the 9th of May at 6 p.m. And the registration will be open soon on the STEM Alliance website. And the second good news that Peter already mentioned, that especially for teachers who are taking part in STEM Alliance webinars co-organized with Cisco NetAcad, Cisco is hosting a special resource page with free courses offered to teachers, and you can access it via the link that I'm gonna reshare again in the chat. So this is a link where you can access the online material and the courses that Peter demonstrated a bit already. Okay. People registered already, I think. So you have a nice feedback already that it was really interesting and useful. So I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and thank you for participating, for your time, and see you next time in our webinars.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable, and it's a great challenge for me. And if they have people some questions, okay, they can email me, or you can resend the mail to me, and I will answer them.
Sure. Thank you very much for your time again, and yeah, thank you.
Okay. Bye. Have a nice evening.